right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tickle Me Comedy Club podcast, episode 36. My name is Issac Israel, and we are here sponsored by ACTV on Roku, Amazon Prime, Binge Networks. We're on YouTube. We're also on 6 different podcast networks, including Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Play, and many more, Anchor. So we want to thank you guys for coming, for watching this episode. We're also sponsored by the Blue Zone Comedy Tour. So thank you. This week, we have a terrific guest tonight. He is a world-renowned comedy magician, travels all over the world, and he took some time out of his schedule to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Smallwood.
All right, thank you.
So you might be looking at Tim and you're thinking, man, he looks like the 42nd president of the United States. He looks a little bit like Bill Clinton. And
yeah, you never know. I was the only president between 2 Bushes.
So yeah, Tim, during his act, he does some Bill Clinton impersonations and impressions, and it makes up a small part, but he's been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah, ever since Bill was in office, it just kept me busy.
Yeah. So, Tim, where was the last? It looked like that you were supposed to be booked at like the Pineda Theater before the. I'm not sure. Where were you supposed to be booked last? Before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, well, what's funny was I was performing in the Philippines in March.
Really? Well, where in the Philippines?
It was I did some shows in Manila, and then just did some small province areas.
Okay.
And then they canceled my flight coming back because of the virus.
Right.
Everything got canceled.
So you got stuck in the Philippines.
Well, so I called the travel agent, and I'm like, he goes, "We're going to refund your money." And I go, "I need to get back."
Yeah.
And so he goes, "I'll have your money in 4 to 6 weeks." And so that didn't work. So I got a supervisor, and he finally told me, "I can have your money in 24 hours. That's the good news. The bad news is you have to buy a ticket at the last second now, a last minute ticket.
Yeah.
$600 more. Manila, Guam, Honolulu, San Francisco, and Vegas on all different airlines to get back in March."
Wow. Oh my God. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, and then I had 2 tours booked right after that.
Okay.
And then they just, let's postpone till July. And then July came and they said, okay, let's postpone the tour till September, October. Well, with everything going on, we postponed it. So now this tour is postponed till April. So hopefully it works.
Tim is so incredibly humble. I mean, he's been doing it's full-time comedy magic. How many people can do that? How many people can do it so how many years have you been doing it, Tim?
Oh, I started when I was young. My mother was a dance teacher, so I kind of grew up a dancer my whole life.
Oh, really?
But trust me, I don't dance now. Not much. So I've been on stage since then. A little time off. Got married, had some kids, got a little time off.
Yeah, how many kids do you have?
2 kids.
2 kids?
Yeah.
You raised them on a comedian magician salary.
Well, I had odd jobs too.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you're doing it full time, right?
Yeah, pretty much that. And then right now being slow. It's funny because all the magicians in town know me as the mover of magicians. Every time any magician needs props moved, they call me. It's just funny. We trickle down. You call any magician in town, say I need a mover, and they'll give you my number.
Oh my gosh!
So it's
Wait,
just to make money.
You got a big truck or something? Or?
Ended up, I just bought one. I bought one like 3 weeks ago. Finally, I've been so busy.
Yeah.
So just to do something. I'm not going to sit home and watch TV every day.
Right. What does your wife do for a living?
She's a nurse at Summerlin Hospital.
Oh, that's great. And where? How long have you been living in Vegas?
Since 1975.
I see.
So
okay. And then before that?
Connecticut.
Oh, okay. And so you moved out here to perform?
No, I was pretty young. I just in 9th grade just started when I moved here.
Okay. Yeah. And then you just went into comedy magic. Like how did that start?
Well, I've always liked magic since I was little.
Okay.
And then one day this guy called me up and he goes, "Hey, I'm doing a big show at my church, and can you come be in the show with me?" So I was like, "Okay." It's his church. I'll make him look good, like David Copperfield kind of deal. So I was his opening act, and I was making, him. I said, "Oh, I could tell everybody how good he is." And I came out and did all comedy, just all comedy. He did this magic act that he practiced for years and years.
Okay.
After the show, the crowd was coming to me saying, "That was hilarious. That was so funny." And he was there going, "Nobody's talking to me."
Yeah.
And that was the day that I decided to switch over and just go to comedy.
How old were you then?
Oh, shoot. I had to be 35 maybe by then.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So, so you do the comedy, then you switched over now, and so you did comedy magic. So you're traveling all over the world. How did that happen? How do you go from, performing at a church, maybe doing some local gigs, to traveling all over the world and becoming this, great comedian magician?
Well, what I do is when I go out of the country, it's mostly just connections. I know people, so they can book me here, book me there.
Producers and owners of theaters and things
owners
like
of
that.
theaters and stuff like that. So that's who books me there. And it's just, I got booked with one theater. They said, "Hey, check out this theater. We know the owner there." So that's how it kept growing and growing. They kept recommending.
Referral side.
And in this country, about 8 years ago, I just got on the phone and started calling. I did. I called about 300 to 350 calls for every tour, and now that's why it's growing so big. Because I've been doing it for 8 years. The same shows, same places.
So you called what, 300 to 350 theaters?
Yep, theaters and community centers, senior halls, it's just anything. And pretty much what I'm doing now is, well, not now, but what I was, is I'll do the big showrooms on Friday and Saturday nights, take Sunday off, and then Monday for the whole week, I'll do mostly the senior centers. So I'm still getting paid all during the week.
Yeah.
So I'm not just sitting in a motel every day. So I'm still entertaining them and just keeping going, and then I do all the big ones on the weekends. So, and I travel. Each tour is about 6 or 7 weeks.
Right.
And I just do. Then I come home for a while, then back on.
So, how old were you when you started touring?
I was. I've only been touring that much, only about 8 years now.
Okay, so your kids are older when you started touring?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That they're out of the house and you don't have to worry about them when you're on tour.
Yeah. When they were little, I would get weekend gigs out of town. They would when Clinton was in office.
Right.
I would get Clinton gigs at conventions, trade shows. But they'd only fly me for a weekend, do my show, and then leave. And what's funny is I perform with, well-known people, because I'm not really well-known like that. But since I was Bill, I was a closing act at all the conventions and everything.
How long was the closing act at the conventions?
Oh, I usually, if there's a lot of performers, I only do 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's it.
Right.
But when I do my big show, I do an hour and a half with an intermission.
Yeah. The big show. That includes all the comedy magic.
Yeah, all the comedy and it's...
Did they ask you to ever do sketch or improv routines where, you have to be Bill Clinton and just...
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then one day, I had my own show in Hot Springs, Arkansas, where Bill was from. So I was there for 6 months.
No way.
Yeah, so I had my own showroom there. And one night we had a small crowd, and it was intermission, and it was a big show, so I had assistants and all the girls and stuff. So I went out and I told the crowd, I said, "This is intermission. If you want to go to the bathroom, get a beer or something, now it's time to go. But I'm just going to stay here and talk to you."
Yeah.
So I just stayed on stage, and I told stories of real things that have happened to me doing my tours, trying to meet Bill and Secret Service holding me back, that kind of stuff. And then after the show, the owner of the theater just said, he called me over and he says, "That was awesome." He goes, "I'm listening to everybody walk and they're talking about your stories." He goes, "From now on, you're keeping them in every show now."
Okay.
He said, they love my story. He said,
Uh-huh.
they were all true.
So did you ever meet Bill?
Yeah, he came to town to, for Hillary, when Hillary was running.
Uh-huh.
So I went home, got all dressed up as him, waited in line for a couple hours, and got in, sit right in the middle. There was only one little lady in front of me.
Uh-huh.
He was up there, speaking, doing his little thing. And then after he got done talking, he came around and shaking hands. And then he saw me all dressed up as him. So he sticks his hand over the lady's shoulder, shakes hands. And then he goes, "Oh, I loved your tie." And I said, "Thank you." And I said, "I was just in Hot Springs doing an 1.5-hour show as you." And he goes, "Well, I'm sure it was an awesome show then."
Yeah.
So that's the only time I met him.
Uh-huh.
But a couple of times Secret Service kind of put a damper when I've tried to, meet
Right.
him in the past
Right.
too.
So I met him a couple of times myself.
Oh.
So I was a political science major at the University of Maryland, right? And so I interned in the White House in '96.
Oh, okay.
And I interned with Monica Lewinsky. And I also and when I served in the Peace Corps in '98, and when I was in Beijing for a little while, he and Hillary came to visit the Peace Corps over there just to see how things were going in the country.
Yeah.
And then he met our group. And so I've had a few, and then I did some fundraising for him after college, and he had his 50th birthday at the Waldorf Astoria, and so with the fundraising team was there, and so we got to meet him a few times, but it's cool that you're able to make a whole act out of him.
and he writes my material for me most of the time.
Yeah. So, Mr. President, what do you think of the results of the election?
I never talk politics.
Right.
Yeah, never get into it. I'll piss somebody off, so I just keep it where I don't say a word.
Right.
Yeah, but I still like to play around, even when I'm not on stage.
Uh-huh.
I still like to horse around with everybody.
Right.
I just said, this is funny because this guy just put a new floor in my house.
Okay.
So I wrote him a check for
Uh-huh.
doing the floor, and I give it to him. He goes to the bank to cash it. And this guy's 300 some pounds, big guy and everything. He goes to the bank teller, gives her the check.
Uh-huh.
And the lady just starts laughing at the check. And she's like, "Did you read this check?" He goes, "Well, I just did a floor and he just paid me." And so she just calls the other tellers. She goes, "You got to look at this." And he's like, "What?" And he goes, "In the comments, you didn't read it?"
Uh-huh.
And he goes, "No. It says for sex lessons." So he had the whole bank there laughing. He had no clue. So I just do things like that just to
Right.
keep everybody entertained.
Yeah, keep everybody entertained, happy, laughing.
Yep.
That's good. So so you're married for how many years, you said?
We just going on 5 years now.
Oh,
For the
okay.
second time.
Okay. So how long were you married the first time?
We were probably 17 years, I think,
Yeah.
somewhere in that area.
But it's tough, right? As a performer to be married.
Yeah, but the kids are out on their own now.
Yeah.
And she enjoys it because when I'm on tour, she takes time off and meets me everywhere.
Oh, that's great.
So she's seen so much of this country. She'll fly in, I'll take some days off.
Uh-huh.
We'll go to New York City, Chicago. Right before the virus, in the fall, she flew into New York. We went to the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, went
Yeah.
to see Wicked. That was an awesome show.
Yeah, Wicked's great.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Did you go to the Freedom Tower?
Yeah.
The top? Did you go to the top?
No.
Okay.
Then we went to the
Uh-huh.
Twin Tower, where they had the memorial, did that, and
Uh-huh.
then, we went to Times Square. We actually stayed at Times Square. Our hotel was right there.
Uh-huh.
So
Which one?
Marriott on the
Okay.
69th floor.
Yeah. Uh-huh. The Marriott Marquis in Times Square.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Then,
With the revolving restaurant and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And then one time she flew to New Orleans. One time she flies to Chicago. So
Uh-huh.
she gets to. And what's funny, the first time she toured with me,
Okay.
I did, I don't know, 50 shows or so altogether. And after the first few shows, I'm looking in the back and I can see her on her phone going, and looking up once in a while. And I say something afterward, and she goes, "Well, it's the same show every night." I go, "Well, of course, they haven't seen the show yet."
How much do you change your show every year? Or every other year, or do you ever change it? Or?
Yeah. Right now during the virus, I probably have got about 20, 25 minutes of new material.
Oh, that's
now
terrific.
I just have to figure out what I want to take out. That's what I got to figure out now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun, the new tour. I actually just picked up something that I thought was so cool. I want to do it for years, and I found it online.
Right.
Before the show starts, say I'm doing the Bill Clinton act, or it could be a regular act, and there's a movie screen playing, and I'm on the screen, like in front of the White House, and I'm actually talking to the audience, like, hey, you in the yellow sweater kind of deal. And then as I'm talking, I just walk out of the screen and start the show.
Oh, wow.
So I just purchased it, and so I can't wait to play around with that and get that
that's
perfected.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. What do you like more, comedy or magic?
Well, I like making the people laugh.
Okay.
That's one of my big things. But I couldn't stand up with a microphone for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've been to places all the time, and some of these stage people, they just like, Dust, it's boring. An hour and a half of seeing a comic with a microphone.
Yeah.
And so when I do the comedy clubs and I'm doing magic, I'm doing props, I'm doing everything, they're like, wow, you're so different. Because I bring people on stage all the time.
That's great.
And so I just did, right before the virus happened, I was doing the Changa Casino.
Yeah.
And I was doing this brand new routine for the first time. You always got to experiment with new things. So I took the the pumps you blow up animal balloons with?
Yeah.
So I had 4 people, a husband and wife, and sitting in the chairs. And I showed them, I said, we're going to have a contest now. So I made the guys take the pump, put it between their legs, keep their legs squeezed. And the ladies were behind them. And I said, now the first one that pumps the balloon and pops it wins. So they're sitting there in front, they're just pumping the balloon, and the balloon's getting big, and the guys...
And they don't know each other, right?
They don't know each other.
The men and women don't know each other.
Well, the husband and wife.
Oh, husband and wife. Okay.
Back to back. And it was like, the first time I did it, it went over so well. The cocktail waitresses were like, that is so... So every night, 6 nights in a row, they stopped during that part of the show. And so we're going to watch that part. Because every night it was different.
Because it's hilarious, right?
Oh, one night the guy goes, tells his wife, I do it more than you do it anyway, so I'll just do it myself. And there was stuff like that happening, and so it was every night. And so I haven't had a chance to do it a lot because it was, in the fall right before, the virus happened. So, but that's one of my new bits. Not in the family show.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done cruise ships before?
No, I was actually booked on a cruise ship, Mexican Riviera.
Nice.
And 9/11 hit.
Yeah.
So I got canceled right then because I had my big illusions.
Right.
And they we're just going to have comedians jumping back and forth.
Right.
And so that was my only chance, and I really haven't pursued it a lot since then.
How long is your show now? Is it 2 hours or an hour and a half or what?
I like to keep it about an hour and a half.
Yeah. That's a good amount of time.
And still an hour and a half's a long time for one person to be on stage by themselves.
Yeah, it is. Because the shows, people like Vegas shows, people have a short attention span, like 65, 75 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But when you hit the Midwest area,
they
want the 2 hours. They don't have the casinos to go to. They
Right,
don't have
they
it,
don't.
so they want the longer
Do you do an
show.
intermission when you're in
Yes.
the Midwest? That's the greatest, because they come back, right? After the mission, you think some of them are going to leave, but they still come back. They got their alcohol, they come back.
Oh,
after
yeah.
10, 15 minutes, and they're doing the show.
Yep, and that gives me a chance. Most places I play have movie screens behind them. So I have a couple funny bits of Bill Clinton. He was on Family Guy, Arsenio Hall playing the sax. And he was on different, so I got different clips of him playing on there.
Yeah.
And then right when he starts playing the sax on the Arsenio Hall show, when that kind of stops, then I come on stage and I do my version of the saxophone.
Right.
So again, I don't push a lot anymore of the bill.
Yeah.
But even if you don't know who Bill is, it's still a funny act.
Right. Right. So you said you were supposed to be in Manila, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember, or you were in Manila?
I was in Manila, yes.
Do you remember where you performed in Manila?
Let's see. Well, I've been there 3 times now,
Uh-huh.
and I've done schools, hospitals,
Uh-huh.
a hotel.
Really?
And when I do the schools, I ask them, and a lot of kids have never seen a magic show before.
Son of a gun.
I ask them every
Sammy and I are from the Philippines, or Filipino.
Yeah.
Filipino.
We know my wife's Filipino.
Oh, your wife's Filipino too. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Great. And she's a nurse.
Yes. Well, is there anybody there that isn't?
Right. I think Sammy and I are the only ones that don't have traditional Filipino role. Like Sammy's a golfer and filmmaker, and I'm a comedian and business owner. So.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I met my wife online.
Okay.
And on my picture, I'm friends with Martin Rivera.
Okay.
So I have a picture of me and him on the site.
Martin Rivera is a famous Filipino singer, right?
And so she goes, this guy's with one of our celebrities. Let me check him out.
Yeah.
And so just so happens right after that, he was in town and I met her and I go, would you like to go meet him? Let's go meet him. So I took him over and, introduced him and stuff. And then we've been together ever since.
Yeah. It's great how performers from all over the world kind of know each other and stuff. We it's like a small community. I did a show with a bunch of Filipino singers over at the Vail showroom in what's it called? The casino.
Pachanga or here?
No, here.
M?
No, not before the M.
South Point?
After the South Point.
South Point in the
which casino is that? The one right after? It's on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's right by Blue Diamond.
Oh, that was
Silverton.
Silverton, yeah, the Silverton Vail, the Vail showroom over there. I did a show, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and there was 8 really good Filipino singers, and then I brought in, who was it? I think JR is he's a Filipino singer, and he brought in Supreme from the Wu-Tang Clan. And so it's weird, you see Filipino, pop singer, you see, Filipino American comedian, right? And then you have Supreme, producer and performer with Wu-Tang, and he's performing there too. It's and then we all know each other.
Yeah.
It's just, it's, the performer community is small.
Oh, it is, because I knew, the singer that was on Philippine Got Talent, the one that sings the guy in the girl's voice.
Marcelino Pomoy. Yeah.
So I've got pictures with him. I've got pictures with one of the TV shows. There's a boy, guy, and a girl or the TV show is a couple. I mean, my wife knows all these people, so I've got pictures with all of them and everything.
Oh, Gail Cassett and Regina
I think that's who it is.
Yeah.
And some other, fame. And I got all these pictures. And to me, I don't know really who they are. I could kind of know who they are.
So tell me the truth. Who got you the Filipino gigs? Was it your wife?
No, it was another guy that is married to a Filipino that he used to perform there.
Oh, okay.
So it started out where he said, these are all the places I performed. And so he gave me all the contacts. So that's the first time I went over there.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So it's fun over there because I'm kind of in Vegas, I'm like a nobody. This Copperfield, you got Penn and Teller, you got Carrot Top, all them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, nothing like that. But once I go to the Philippines, you're from Vegas, you're an American. Mm-hmm. It's posters. It's funny. You don't believe the posters they make for me. You see my house, the whole wall is posters. I said, every show I went to, they had these posters. I go, can I have it? Can I have it?
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't have time for a residency here. It seems like you're just traveling all the time.
I did. I did for 3 months.
Where?
The Royal Resort.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And it was just, you work off the door, you pay, it's a floor wall. And it was just the little bit of money you made. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it's performers, it's really tough because, like casinos and hotels. I mean, not only do you not get anything from the food and drink, but you also have to pay for the venue.
Yeah,
And then you only make money off the tickets and merchandise, and then sometimes they get a percentage of the merchandise.
Yes.
So it's really difficult. Everybody thinks it's a cash cow, but it's not. It's a black hole of money when you try to have your own gig in Vegas, whether it's on the strip or off the strip. I mean,
Oh, I know.
So yeah, there's a misconception there.
Oh,
I mean, the only shows that are making money, like even Cirque shows are losing money. I mean, Absinthe makes money, but how many shows are like Absinthe? Like almost zero. Like Penn and Teller make money, and David Copperfield make money, but yeah. So
yeah, right now, really nobody's making money.
yeah. So what have you been doing during the pandemic?
So I bought this truck, and I just been helping magicians move all their shows. I've been moving some of the shows around.
Okay.
I did Six Flags. They're all over the country.
Right.
They rotate their shows. So a few times I actually drove the shows from one theme park to another.
Wow.
And I was just driving from theme park to theme park, dropping off, picking up to different shows. So I do that once in a while.
Wow.
And then I just brought another man. I do a lot in Branson. There's so many connections, Vegas and Branson.
Yeah.
So there's stuff going back and forth,
like a mini Vegas over there, right?
Yeah, so I'm always bringing stuff there.
Do you like it? Do you like Branson? Do you like performing there?
Well, what's funny was after I left Hot Springs,
Yeah.
I had an offer to perform there,
Uh-huh.
but it was off the door again.
Oh, yeah, it's tough.
And I just,
But don't they bring a lot of people?
yeah, but there was 110 shows there when they wanted me. So you got 110 shows fighting for, every ticket.
Yeah, it's like Vegas. Well, here in Vegas, not only do you compete against the other shows, you compete against the restaurants, you compete against the attractions.
Yes.
It's like you're competing against like someone's attention. Yeah, the slot machines.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. But I've noticed on the road though, I do have expenses, but I got a lot of like family members all over the country. So, like in Dallas, I just stay with my brother. I perform as much as I can in that neighborhood because I'm just visiting my brother for a couple of weeks, and I'll just head out and do shows. And when I was in Arkansas, I met a lot of people there. And
did your brother and his family go see your show?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just.
So have you had any issues during this time with censorship or any kind of First Amendment issues where people are being offended by what you say?
Nope, I'm not dirty at all. Not at all. Loves anything.
Uh-huh.
Like the joke I said, hey, I'm the only president between two bushes. That's a kind of about
innuendo.
That's
as bad as you get.
But a lot of my jokes are like that. Same thing, like that.
All innuendo.
And then I've got one dirty prop I use, but only in comedy clubs, and it's only a quick. Here, look, Bob. Then other than that, it's all clean. Actually, a lot of my show, the family-friendly show and the adult show, a lot of times are the same routines. I just reword everything.
Yeah, you got to reword it.
That's all I do.
Yeah, instead of saying porn, you say dirty movies.
Yeah, stuff like that, and then it's but it's fun. I mean, one time I was doing something, a lady in the front was just laughing her head off. She fell out of her chair. And I couldn't. I had to start laughing. I couldn't hold it in because she fell out of her chair. She was laughing so hard.
That's funny. And you're funny when someone falls out. You ever make someone laugh so hard they spit stuff out of their mouth?
Very little bit, but I did up in Prairie Nights Casino.
Okay.
Up in North Dakota. It was for Legends and Concerts. I was the host. Bill, Tina Turner, Cher, Madonna.
Okay.
All from there. And I was the host as Bill Clinton. So I came out.
That's a great show.
Yeah, so I came out. I did like 15 minutes to open and then 5 minutes in between each act.
Yeah.
And I walked out there and it was so loud. My hair was actually standing up. We had 1,000 people for the day show and 1,500 for the night show.
That's crazy. It's all those oil people have nothing to do up there, right? And then they're like, oh yeah, let's see a show. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like when you travel around the country, and I've performed in South Dakota, and so like you meet like people even, like I'm from New York, New Jersey. We don't have any coal miners over there. And then like when I go to South Dakota, I meet like after the show, you meet a coal miner, and the coal miner's ending up hooking up with like one of the comedians that you brought on tour with you. And like, it's like, and then like I had one comedian, Angie Crum, and we'll have her on the show soon. She's like, yeah, I fucked the coal miner last night. And I was like, what? So, yeah, you meet like, yeah, it's interesting to see, the United States in this capacity. Because we only work like 1 hour a night, and then the other 23 hours, we're sleeping in. They feed us food, and then we're just like, let's go see the zoo. We're in Fresno. Let's see the zoo. Like, what do we do? So.
And then when I do perform in all the casinos around the country. They just give you a whole stack of buffet tickets. So you eat every meal at a buffet.
Right.
And it's like, that's what I need. It's a buffet, 3 meals a day.
And you get room service, and you get plus. Yeah. And they also, sometimes they give you drink tickets. Yes. And it's like, oh, man, I don't need, it's like, I don't need these drink tickets. It's like 2 every show. And then there's 2 shows a night, and then you got 4 drink tickets, and then the times 7 days a week, 28 drink tickets. It's like, it's a lot.
Oh yeah. Some nights it's funny because one night I didn't know I was going to do a show because I thought it got canceled.
Yeah.
So I was just drinking, watching football, and I got a call, and they're like, "Hey, where are you?" And I said, "Well, I heard the show was canceled." No, we need you. So, oh, well, I've been drinking quite a bit. And so I ran down there, did the show, and the lady was filming it. And after the show, she goes, I've never seen you that funny before. She goes, what are you doing different? And I said, I'm so drunk right now. I don't drink really too much anymore, but that was in the past.
Yeah. Usually, you don't want to drink on stage because you want to stay sharp, and maybe you drink afterwards and relax a little. But
one time I was in Arkansas, and an hour and a half on stage.
Right.
I actually had to run on stage one time. I couldn't. I was like, I gotta go, and I'm trying to think, how can I run off stage real quick while I have this big audience in front of me and I'm by myself?
Right.
So I told the audience, I said, can you guys hear all that noise in backstage? There's an awful lot of pounding. Hang on a second. And I left. And the whole audience is like, sound guy, light guy, they don't know what's going on either.
Right.
So I come back and I'm just like, damn girls trying to sell Girl Scout cookies. I did nothing. I had to make up something.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't. I had to go.
Yeah. With I think with comedy, you get away with like doing that kind of stuff more than anything else. It's like you could be truthful, you could be honest, you could make up whatever, and they know you're a comedian, so they're good with it. They're good with it. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm I also do a lot of props. I'm not considered like a carrot top, but a lot of my props, I like to do. Like one of my things that I do.
Did you bring some props?
Yeah, so I get
let's check this out.
So let's
check out the props.
So this is like when you're online dating, and I met this girl, and she sent me these. I don't know.
That doesn't look like a handkerchief.
No. So she sent me these, and I was like, this girl's gonna be hot. Because we never met or anything.
Yeah.
So then I actually met her, and when I met her, whoops. This is really what she fit into. So you never know what you're going to get online there.
You were catfished.
Yeah. So that's enough on the props there, but that's. So I kind of always, again, it's all comedy. Even when I'm reading somebody's mind, I'm doing. It was funny just now in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I was reading these people's minds, and at the end, it was my finale. And afterwards, I predicted what they were going to say.
Yeah.
And also, about half the audience clapped, and the other half just kept staring at me. And I was like, "Okay, thank you." And I get off, and I'm wondering if they think that I'm really reading their minds.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then a little while later, I'm packing up, and this one lady comes up to me, and she goes, "So at what age do you realize you could read our minds?"
So so they understood everything, right? It's just that they were just like amazed by what happened.
But some people, I think, really thought I was reading their mind.
Right.
But trust me, I'm not really. It's a trick. And
T Ward just walked in our next podcast episode. We have T Ward that's going to be with us tonight. Thomas, we have we have some drink. Malaysia, there was some drinks there.
We have some tacos?
Yeah. No tacos, but we have some drinks if you want some. Yeah. And so, anyway, now, Tim, do you know, like, where your, like, how do your kids feel about your performance? Are they performers themselves, or like?
When they were little,
Uh-huh.
I used my daughter. I kind of
As your assistant?
As my assistant. And my boy was my assistant. I got videos of him pushing the boxes around.
Right.
And at the end of my show, I do a big patriotic show, and at the end, I produce Uncle Sam, Statue of Liberty, all these flags.
Yeah.
We actually even did a TV show, and my kids jumped out, waving flags when I produced them and stuff. And then my boy kind of got he liked more behind the scenes.
Right. Okay. So he does theater.
Not anymore.
Okay, not anymore. All right.
He decided girls and baseball, so that's it now.
And your daughter?
She's just working a regular job.
Yeah.
Just kind of making ends meet.
How do they feel about you traveling around the country, performing and stuff?
Well, sometimes if I'm performing here, I guess they think it's kind of cool. They'll bring some of their friends.
Okay.
That's my dad up there performing and stuff. So I think they think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting how earlier you talked about how you got your gigs by simply cold calling.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you talk, in almost every industry, it's like, to get the business, you got a cold call, and many people look down upon it, look frown upon it, and things like that. But it works. It's the most effective and the quickest way to get gigs, right?
Oh, you just see, I got a bookcase on the side of my desk that's got pages and pages. I take notes. Everybody I call, who I talk to, the date. Is there a reason, why? Some of them say, "Hey, we're booked up for the year. Call us earlier next year." And I'll leave a note. Call them earlier next year. And then,
shoot, he did that with that computer, guys. He's using notebooks and stuff,
Oh, I know.
pen and paper.
Oh, I know.
To make that happen.
Well, what's funny is all my stuff's printed up, but when I'm talking to the people, I can write a lot quicker on the things I typed up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then so I do that, and then after this many years, they know that when they get my call, okay, what's your date you're going to be here? What date are you going to be in this part of the country?
Wow, that's
so
great.
It's getting easy now to book them because I've already been there enough times.
Right.
And
So, okay, let's say there's a comedy magician out there that wants to know how to start booking themselves and how to start doing the business part of this. What would you recommend to him or her?
Don't? No.
A lot of performers say that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how a magician becomes a millionaire?
Oh.
Start with 10 million?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough racket out there. Just being on the road. If you're single and everything on the road, it's fun.
Yeah.
But if if your wife's at home, you have kids, it's a grind.
It's a grind. It's torture. It's tough. Yeah.
And you got to do your time. I mean, years and years, I started at the bottom. Just like opening for everybody, opening for this, and little gigs. $50 gigs here, $50 just to get my foot in the door. And
right.
I've done gigs for free just to show people what I can do.
Yeah.
It's paying off now, but back then,
Yeah.
I was doing all that kind of stuff.
So when you travel around the country, and let's say you have a girlfriend, or you have a fiance, or you have a wife, right? And there's two schools of thought on, like, let's say you meet somebody after the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they want to hook up after the show.
Yes.
And they want to go back to your hotel room or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's one school of thought that says, yeah, just do it. Don't tell the wife. It's not considered cheating because you're on the road. And then there's the other school of thought where, you're cheating. Like, it's cheating. I mean, like, what's your opinion on that stuff?
Yeah. Well, I was.
Wait, you could do it in your voice, or you could do it in Bill Clinton's voice?
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, do it as Bill. I was divorced for like 12 years.
Yeah.
In between first wife and second wife.
Sure.
So it's whatever goes on.
Uh-huh.
So it's like
you
being
had
a playboy.
no moral compunction with that. Yeah.
But now being married at my age,
Yeah.
I don't care about flings and screwing around and that stuff. I'm just like, hey, I'm happy with what I'm doing now. It's working out.
Yeah, I'm here to do my job.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times, I said, she'll fly, meet me all over the place.
Yeah, that's great.
And
yeah.
So
your Filipino wife's making sure you're not cheating on her.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it's
yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot of fun for her to be able to meet you up, in different gigs.
Oh yeah, in the Philippines, she always stood off stage with a microphone,
Oh, really?
just in case I get somebody up on stage and they don't understand what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So she would translate.
She would always translate.
Oh, that's great.
But pretty much.
You had a translator in the Philippines.
Yeah, but most of the time, pretty much everybody understood.
Yeah.
They teach over there in
It's
English.
it's one of the primary languages there. The other one being Tagalog. So
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so, but it's it's real interesting over there. The jokes that we tell here.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I have to do jokes over there and kind of see which ones they laugh at.
Yeah.
Because they'll laugh here,
Uh-huh.
and then over there, they won't laugh.
Yeah.
And then vice versa.
Uh-huh.
So I got to play it by ear on which ones go over better over there.
Right. If you were just a stand-up, or if you were just a magician,
Mhm.
do you think you would be booked as much as you are booked right now? Or is it the fact that it's more unique that you're a comedy magician that you've been able to get gigs?
Well,
You've kind of set yourself apart a little bit. Plus the fact that you do your Bill Clinton.
yeah. Well, I did find out working with a lot of comics. They all like working with me because I'm not competing with them. I'm not a stand-up. I'm not a guitar player. We don't tell the same kind of jokes. So a lot of them are like, yeah, we like your act to perform with us because we're so different. So
Yeah.
I've heard that.
But what about the venue owners?
Um,
You think it matters? Or is
not
it,
really.
if you have talent, you have talent?
I just did some work for another comedy club owner here in town a couple weeks ago, and I
Yeah.
showed him some video stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes, "That is hilarious."
Uh-huh.
And he goes, "Yeah, we'll work something out, down the road." So,
Uh-huh.
so I was like, "Oh, that's good." I've been,
Yeah.
because I don't do it a whole lot in town here. I do the tour, of Laughlin and that tour, but
Uh-huh.
it doesn't stop in Vegas.
Right. But you said your first bookings, your next bookings coming up are in April, right? Or
Yeah,
when?
that tour
Uh-huh.
that has been postponed. I've talked to them, and they're like, okay, let's just work on April. Let's
Okay.
kind of see what's going to happen. What kind of stinks was one of the shows was up in Idaho.
Okay.
Gorgeous theater,
Uh-huh.
but they weren't as strict as everybody else.
Right.
So they still had me on the posters and the bill. They had me everywhere, and I go, I hate to do this to you, but everybody else, you're the only one that didn't cancel,
Uh-huh.
and I can't go all the way up there for one show.
Oh, it was only one show up there, huh?
For them. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it was multiple shows, but each theater was one show.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, it wouldn't make financial sense.
yeah, so she's like, oh, no, I understand totally. And it was kind of funny because it was so easy to book because I said, I just got booked in Spokane and they told me to call you. And she's like, yeah. She goes, pretty much all the people do Spokane one weekend and then come to us the next weekend. So we expect it. So she goes, what do you do, by the way? Didn't even ask for any videos, anything. And booked me.
Wow. That's
just
great.
because of Spokane booked me and knew, that they did. It must be good enough to.
Yeah. Do you do any public speaking at all, or?
No.
You do the Clinton closers for the conventions. Is that when you do corporates and do you do any corporates, conventions?
Yeah, not as much right now.
But before, as Clinton, you did.
Yeah, about in town lately. It's only been like twice a year for the the big corporation things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the last one I did at the Wynn, they just wanted to get as many presidents as they could for a thing. So there was like 6 of us, all impersonators. Yeah. And we were all, and it was funny because they paid us great and we didn't have to perform. They just wanted us to mingle with the crowd.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm walking with this Obama, and all of a sudden they're taking pictures, and this lady comes over and she wants a picture with Obama. So I kind of step aside out of the picture. And she goes, no, I want you to be in the back and photobomb us. So I was doing stuff in the back. And then after that, we started walking. She goes, now it's your turn. And I was like, okay. So I get next to her and she goes, give me a big kiss. And I've never had that happen before. So I said, okay. She goes, let's do it one more time. Make sure you get a good picture. So I did it one more time. And then she goes, my husband hates Clinton. I think this is going to be hilarious. So you never know what you're going to get into.
Yeah.
I even did a commercial I wish it aired here for one of the car dealerships.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a funny commercial, great commercial. I had fun doing it. Never aired.
Oh, it never aired.
Aired.
Too bad. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it paid well. I just wish I would get more popular if it was on TV every week.
Right. So if your tour is in April, Tickle Me Comedy Club will probably open up in 3 to 4 weeks in Treasure Island. Would you be able to perform there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I'd love to. Yeah, because
you saw it on camera.
Yes.
Tim said he would perform at the Tickle Me Comedy Club.
Yes. Yeah. I've got so many friends and so many people here that I know since I've been here my whole life almost. And Facebook and everything, they're always saying, well, when can we see you? When can we see you? But I don't do hardly anything in town.
Okay.
So when I do get booked in town, with Facebook and all that stuff, it's like, I can bring a bunch of people.
Right. Oh, that'd be terrific.
Even in San Diego, when I was down there those 6 days, I had a lot of people in California. Just know my wife's got tons of relatives down there.
Oh, San Diego, yeah, a lot of Filipinos.
Oh, there is. And so every night we had a bunch of them at the show. Yep, and it was funny because one night I was performing, and Martin and Lanny?
Yeah, Lanny Misalucha. Yeah.
So they were in the big room.
Okay.
And I'm in the comedy club.
Oh, wow.
So I go there and I'm like looking for them.
Which venue is that?
Pachanga.
Oh, in Pachanga. Okay.
Yeah. And so it was funny because I couldn't find them. Then the next day, I'm waiting. The lady comes in. We're here to clean the room. So I said, okay, I go downstairs. And I see Martin Navarre in the lobby. And he goes, what are you doing here? Yeah. And I was like, I'm in the comedy club. And he goes, oh man, I wish I knew. I would have came to see you last night. And I was like, yeah. And so I said, I need a favor for you tomorrow. And he goes, yeah, just come on down and, just come walk in and see me. Because it was our anniversary and like Mother's Day. And my wife wasn't there. So I wanted those two to wish her, Mother's Day and everything.
Oh, that's nice.
So I posted on Facebook and I walk in, the security guards, can I help you? I go, yeah, I just need to talk to them for a minute. What's your business? I go, just be a minute. And they escorted me in. And Martin says, Tim, I'll be with you in a minute. Let me get done here. And the security guard turns around, doesn't say a word, and just walks away.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's still fun.
Yeah. Okay. So you heard it here. Tim Smallwood is going to be performing at the Tickle Me Comedy Club when we open up again in Treasure Island. Where can people find you if they want to see you?
Well, what's funny is I use just my Facebook, Timothy Smallwood. It's not a Tim for some reason, Timothy Smallwood. My wife posts everything I do. I don't do much,
that's
but
terrific.
no matter what I do, she's putting it in, she's videoed, she's taking pictures, so she's like my publicist.
Yeah, publicist,
She does.
marketer.
So whatever we do, it's on there.
Okay.
And it's funny because a lot of times after shows, I go back to the hotel room and I have like 5-6 people friends requests after a lot of the shows.
That's great. That's great. You keep building your following.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then some of the places I go to every year, they're just like, oh, you remember me? I like the one. Oh, do you remember me from last year? Yeah, sure. And then he goes, remember we went to eat afterwards? I go, there was like 25 of us I didn't say it, but in my mind I'm thinking, there's 25 of us that went to eat.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I remember you.
Well, at least you're not a snob about it,
No.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I just have fun.
Yeah.
The show that I did with Carl, the one I did at his place.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine never seen me perform or anything. I watched the show, and I said, "What do you think?" And he looked at, he goes, "You are having as much fun as the audience on stage."
Yeah.
So I said, "That sounds like a good comment."
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, Timothy Smallwood, and this has been another episode of the Tickle Me Comedy Club podcast, sponsored by the Blue Zone Comedy Tour and ACTV. Thanks again, folks.
All right, thank you.